All right, we're gonna watch 20 Subnautica base locations you need to try. Like the video, because I already know it's gonna be a banger. Shout out to Breathtaker. Without further ado, let's get into the video, because I might build my base here in my playthrough. Let's see.
So you started playing Subnautica again, and it's time to get working on that base. You could just build in that same spot like you always do, but that would be boring. And you, my friend, are not a boring person. But if you aren't going to build 2 feet from the life pod like you always do, then where should you go instead? Well, fear not. Today I'll be your 4546.
You should be able to move the life pod in Subnautica. At one point in the game, you should be able to move it. Because I hate it. It always just sits there and never moves.
Be realtor and take you on a tour of 20 incredible base locations that you should definitely try out. Starting off in the safe shallows. I know, it's not the most exciting way to start the list, but not everyone wants to live in some crazy Leviathan observatory, and this is such an objectively good biome that it had to have at least one spot on this list. And as far as the safe shallows go, I'd say this is one of the more interesting spots. In the western part of the main biome, there's a plateau that rises up so high you can actually stand in a few locations. And this lets you do a lot of fun things, like building a part of your base above water and having a proper outdoor garden. This place is more or less exactly what you might think, a nice spot in the kelp forest. You're pretty much at the center of the map, giving you easy access to the shallows, grassy plateaus, and jelly shroom caves through an entrance to your west. The trench here allows you to get quite creative with your base design.
That is sick. The wraparound, the underneath where it wraps around. That is sick. Yo, I like that.
And a series of nearby caves mean you shouldn't be worried about getting resources for quite some time. I love the grassy plateaus. There's good resources, the pretty blue water, reefbacks bumping into my Cyclops.
It's so boring. It's literally just an open field. There's a few pillars. It's so boring. It's just
like
red grass.
The place. Okay, maybe not the last one, but this place is still a base builder's dream.
So boring.
My one problem is, despite there being 4 separate grassy plateau biomes, they all kind of look the same, and it can be hard to find a place that actually stands out. But in the southeasternmost biome, there is a hole. At first, it looks like another entrance to the Jelly Shroom Caves, but no, it's its own thing. And in my opinion, this place is just asking you to build a base over it. I actually did build here during my first playthrough, and after playing on that save for over 150 hours, I didn't have any complaints. Next up, I couldn't have a list of cool locations and not include a spot in the Jelly Shroom Caves. If you like the color purple, you'll love it here, and if you don't, well, you'll probably get used to it or something. Surprisingly, despite the fact
I like this base. I would put my base here.
That it's, a cave, power is actually less of a concern than you might think, given all the thermal geysers that, while not the absolute best, can still hit temperatures of over 70 degrees Celsius. And if you're in a spot like this that's close to one of the entrances, you're really not that far away from the safe shallows, kelp forest, and any other places you might want to go. Heading a bit to the southwest, we arrive at our next spot in the Sparse Reef. While the biome itself isn't much to write home about, you're not building here for the looks, but rather just what all this place can do. The bottom of the Sparse Reef Chasm might just be the single best scanner room location in the entire game. And if you max one out with range modules, you can see pretty much the entirety of the Sparse Reef, Blood Kelp Trench, most of the Grand Reef and Sea Treader's Path, and even a bit into places like the dunes and Deep Grand Reef. You can easily hit 4 pages of stuff in your scanner room, all without sacrificing safety or much.
Wait, that'd actually be kind of sick to just build an area for a scanner room. I might do that.
Convenience. Sticking to the south, because why not, we enter the Grand Reef. Building here could sometimes be a bit tricky with all the big blue anchor pods getting in the way, but this clearing should give you plenty of space to work with. It's a bit more on the remote side, but with an abundance of most resources, you should still be able to get everything pretty close by. The area features a ghost Leviathan, which can enhance the viewing experience, but if he's not your style, you can always pull out your stasis rifle and hit him with the good old hippity-hoppity get off my property. The next location is literally a stone's throw away, and if you were to just go there right now, you'd probably wonder why it's so good. I mean, sure, the pillar's kinda neat, but not worth relocating your entire base over. And yeah, there's not much to this place. Until you finish the story. What a lot of people don't realize is that those baby sea emperors, they grow up, and you can find them in a few different spots around the map. And one of those spots just so happens to be directly above this pillar. So if you're fixin' to be in it for the long haul, you can build here, and end up with one of the coolest Leviathan observatories that almost no one knows about. If you
Hey, what we should do is what we should do is make of all of the Leviathan's observatories. Like we should have an Let me eat, bro. What am I doing? I'm so stupid. We need to get Leviathan observatories, right? And put them in every spot where every Leviathan is.
you want a base that feels completely different to any other spot on this list, consider moving to the floating island.
Boring.
It may not have really any resources to speak of, but you are right above the Grand Reef. And besides, who needs to worry about game progression when you have a whole tropical paradise right outside your front door? Before we leave the area, I'd like to briefly mention the Sea Treader's Path. It seems like it would be a great idea to build here, get all that free shale, and watch the Sea Treaders walk around amongst doing various other things. But there's just one problem. For whatever reason, it seems like the Sea Treaders just stop spawning whenever you build a base nearby, so in the interest of your view not becoming more empty than my list of reasons to get
I
up
heard
on a
about
Monday
this.
morning, you should probably build somewhere else. If you're looking for a late-game utilitarian paradise, it doesn't get much better than the Bloodkelp Trench. This is probably the one spot in the game that can rival the Sparse Reef in terms of resources, and with it comes interesting terrain, a lost river entrance, and access to a lot of different biomes, all while still being relatively close to the shallows. The only real trade-off is safety. There
Oh,
are quite a
heck
few
no.
warpers dotted around the area, but if that's not an issue to you, then this place should definitely be near the top of your list. The border between the dunes and grassy plateaus is a very interesting place. Normally, the Reapers will stay pretty deep in their respective biomes, but for whatever reason, this guy never got the memo, and he'll regularly come up and even cross into the grassy plateaus. This makes this one of the best observatory spots in the entire game. You get that beautiful blue water and convenience that comes from living in the grassy plateaus, all while getting to watch a Reaper out your bedroom window. The dunes, as big and empty as they may seem, actually have a couple of good base spots. And this hourglass-shaped spot in the region's southern third has to be my favorite.
Oh, this looks
The
basic.
dunes already have quite a bit of quartz, silver, and titanium, and the sinkhole itself has more rubies than you could ever possibly need, but I already know if you're building in the dunes, you're not doing it for the terrain or to get a couple extra gemstones. You're doing it because, for whatever reason, you've decided you want to get up close and personal with a Reaper Leviathan. And for that, this spot has you covered. Moving across the map to something a bit more calm, we have this nice spot on the edge of the Mushroom Forest.
Again, boring.
To your west are the Shallows, south is the Crash Zone, and the Bulb Zone is just to your north and east, making resource collection a breeze. The Mushroom Forest also has what is probably one of the most underrated soundtracks in the entire game, and it really makes the time you spend here a lot more enjoyable. But maybe you like the Mushroom Forest and want
Ooh.
something with a bit more flair. Well, you might want to check out the giant mushroom tree. Aside from the obvious cool factor from, living on top of a giant tree, being in the center of the Mushroom Forest means you have relatively easy access to the shallows, dunes,
Ain't there a Leviathan there though? Can Leviathans break your Ooh, I don't know if they can. Can Leviathans break your base?
underwater islands, and northern Bloodkelp.
I don't
And
think
since
they
you're so
can.
high up, this is one of the few places that's this far out where solar is actually a viable option. The Bulb Zone is honestly a place that doesn't get enough love. Sure, it's remote, dark, and full of creatures that like to invade your personal space, but it's also really
I hate the eels, dude. They are the actual worst.
pretty and full of a bunch of resources. The spot here has a cool land bridge and borders the mountains,
Um, this is sick. The drop down underneath. Oh, that's sick. That's
Meaning
sick.
you'll have an entrance to the Lost River that's relatively close by. You know, they say everything in life needs a strong foundation, but if your life's a bit like mine, then maybe building on a giant chunk of rock that's just barely connected to the ground would be a bit more realistic. Questionable life choices aside, the main underwater island can be a really good spot to build your base. It looks really cool, the shallows are just on the other side of this mountain ridge thingy, and the nearby blood kelp, mushroom forest, and mountains all have an insane amount of resources. But maybe the best perk of living here is the power. The big island has a couple of thermal vents that are alright, but the main seafloor has the best thermal spots in the entire game. So as long as you're willing to take 5 minutes to build a few power transmitters, you'll likely never have to worry about getting energy ever again.
Oh, dude.
The northern blood
Dude, the floodlights on the top. That's a good idea. And the creep vine in the middle. I'm stealing this.
kelp is one of those places that just perfectly captures what Subnautica is
I'm
about.
stealing that.
It's super deep, visually distinct, and full of small, medium, and Leviathan-class creatures. Like the Blood Kelp Trench, this place is absolutely chock
kinda like
full of
this.
resources, and you're literally right next to an entrance to the
Buddy. I'm not. No. Frick this place. Freaking
Lost
warpers.
River. But by far the
I like
best
this
part about this
idea,
place is
dude.
the ambience. If you've never been here at night and just
Oh my
stared
God,
up
never
at all the
mind.
blood kelp, go here, build a base, and do it, because the view does not get old. A base at the back of the Aurora is something I'm sure we've all thought about making at least once. But as someone who's built there, it's honestly not worth it. The water's so murky you can't see a dang thing, and once the novelty of being there wears off, you realize it's just a desolate landscape with nothing to do. But if you still want to build in the crash zone and want something
Buddy, there is over 4 Leviathans that surround you. 4. 4. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 Leviathans that surround you. Don't build back there. Don't. It ain't worth it.
little more visually pleasing, I'd suggest heading south to the crash zone mesas. Compared to the rest of the biome, life here is quite abundant, and the water changes from brown to this really cool dark green. This particular mesa does come with a reaper, but there's 1 or 2 of them further west that are completely safe. It's also a fantastic place to mine salt, if you happen to need that for whatever reason.
There's no point in mining salt. If you get a water filter. Oh my lord, wait. Never mind. Look at this base. This
Well,
is
it's probably
smart.
not ideal for a starter base. Living in the Lost River can be a lot more practical than you might
Ow.
think. As long
Oh.
as you bring the common crafting plants, the Lost River has so many resources that you really won't have to leave for much. This area does have a ghost leviathan, but you can always dispatch it, and for a view like this, I'd say the risk is well worth it. The Tree Cove has always been a fan favorite, and it's easy to see
Oh, I
why.
never thought about this.
Well, it's
This is a
arguably
good
the most
idea.
remote spot in the game, given its distance from the teleporters and the surface. What you get in return is a brilliant blue paradise.
The only thing about here is there's like nothing around you. The only way to get out is through the Lost River.
It's sandwiched in between 2 of the best biomes for general resources, and
Yeah.
it's the only place in the game with no hostile creatures. So I think the only ways you could
Really?
really kill yourself are drowning or stabbing deep shrooms. The thermal spots in this area are also solid, really only being second to the ones in the underwater islands. Oh, and did I mention this place looks really nice? Because it looks really, really
at that.
nice. The final entry on this list is also by far the deepest.
Nah, this
Connecting
one's-
the inactive lava zone to the lava lakes is this big volcano-looking thing. Resource-wise, this is one of the more interesting spots, having small nodes of things like gold and titanium that don't appear anywhere else in the game. And the sea dragons will never really come down this far to bother you. Accessing the rest of the map is also surprisingly easy with the teleporters, and I mean, hey, who wouldn't want to live on top of a giant volcano? Anyways, I hope you found a couple of spots that sparked your interest. And if you did, consider leaving a like or maybe subscribing. We're almost at 60,000 subscribers somehow. Anyways, that's all from me for now. I hope to see you all again very soon.
Wow, that was a good video. I kind of picked up a lot of good ideas from that. I think the top 3 is the blood kelp. Blood kelp and hold on. Oh wait, which one? I think it's this one. Yeah, it's the northern blood kelp. And jelly shroom cave, dude. It just is what it is. We got this is the jelly shroom. Never in your life even think about building back here. And then the tree cove. The tree cove. What am I talking about? Dude, the tree cove is sick. Wow. That was a W video. I really like that. That also gave me a lot of ideas for my for mine. Wow. W video. Thank you guys so much for watching. And yeah, go sub to this guy right here, Breath Taker. Looks like he's a great freaking Subnautica YouTuber. Without further ado, man, have a good day, a good night, a good morning. I don't know what else. What else is there to say? Anyways, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.